Good morning, children. Let's continue this interesting story, The Rat Trap, written by Swedish writer Selma Lagerlöf. You know that this peddler has a worldview, that the world is a trap, and the joys and luxuries are the temptations. They are just like baits which are kept for the rat to catch in the trap, to see that they get trapped into the rat trap. So, similarly, he feels that way, that they are all temptations. He wanted to stay for a night there in the forge. The ironmaster has invited him to the house. Now the ironmaster comes to know that this rat trap peddler is not his old acquaintance. And then, when everything is revealed because of this revolution, the ironmaster is shocked. And then he says he will hand him over to the sheriff. Let's continue this story, The Rat Trap. The tramp took a step forward and struck the table with his fist. So here the rat trap seller got so enraged, got so angry upon hearing about the sheriff. What he has done? He has gone forward and he has struck the table very hard with his fist. Now I am going to tell you, Mr. Ironmaster, how things are. This whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. All the good things that are offered to you are nothing but cheese rings and bits of pork set out to drag a poor fellow into trouble. So here he says that this world is a rat trap. And all the good things are a bait. They are just like a temptation. They're just like a bait, like the rings of cheese, piece of cheese, and the small piece of pork that are kept as a bait for the rat, and it is kept as an offering to trap the rat. And if the sheriff comes now and locks me up for this, so he says, if sheriff comes because of your information, when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork. So he says, Mr. Ironmaster must remember that a day may come, a day will come to you when you yourself will be tempted, just like this piece of pork tempts the rat, and then you will get caught in the trap. This world is a trap, and you will also get caught one day in that particular trap. And when the ironmaster hears, he starts laughing. The ironmaster began to laugh. The ironmaster started laughing over the thought of this peddler, that the world is a trap. And one day you will get caught in the trap. That was not so badly said. The ironmaster didn't like his words. Perhaps we should let the sheriff alone on Christmas Eve. But he decides not to call the sheriff. He says, let's not disturb sheriff because it's a Christmas occasion. But now get out of here as fast as you can. But don't remain here and leave this house at once. But just as the man was opening the door, the daughter said, I think you ought to stay with us today. I don't want him to go. But the daughter intervened. And what the daughter has done? She stopped the peddler. She said, he will not leave. I think he ought to stay with us today. He should stay with us. Ought to means should. He should stay with us today. I don't want him to go. It's a Christmas season. It's a Christmas Eve. And with that, she went and closed the door. What in the world are you doing? What are you doing? The daughter stood there, quite embarrassed, hardly knew what to answer. That morning she had felt so happy when she thought how home-like. See, only two of them were there. She was very happy to have a guest and Christmassy just like Christmas. She was going to make things for the poor, hungry, rich, this miserable fellow, hungry fellow. She wanted to offer food for him. How happy she would have felt for that. She could not get away from the idea all at once. And that was why she had interceded. She had intervened for this vagabond who doesn't have a home to live in, who doesn't have a family to take care of him. And she was ready to make him very, very comfortable on Christmas period. I'm thinking of this stranger here, the young girl said. He walks and walks the whole year long. What this stranger is doing. The difficulties that he has been facing. So here, there's probably not a single place in the whole world, whole country where he is welcome. So he's not welcomed anywhere. Wherever he goes, people just want him to live. He can't feel at home. At least here he can feel at home. There's no place where he can feel at home. Wherever he turns, he's chased away. Always is afraid of being arrested, cross-examined. I should like to have him enjoy a day of peace with us here, just one in the whole year. So here she wanted him to remain in the house. She has explained about the difficulties faced by this peddler. He didn't have his own house. He was turned out whenever he went anywhere. He always kept on running in order to safeguard himself. He was chased everywhere. And she wanted him to enjoy Christmas with peace, as they had promised him earlier. And they should not send away a man on the day of Christmas. The man whom they had promised happiness on that particular day. The ironmaster mumbled something in his beard. The ironmaster said something, but he was not able to say anything against her. He could not bring himself to oppose her. He couldn't oppose her. He wanted the peddler to leave the house at once. He wanted to throw him out. He was very angry with the peddler because he felt that he had cheated him. And she tries to convince her father it was all a mistake. Of course, I know that it was a mistake. But anyway, I don't think we ought to chase away a human being whom we have asked to come here and to whom we have promised Christmas cheer, Christmas happiness. We had promised him happiness. We wanted him to enjoy Christmas with us at peace, and now we are throwing him out. This man has been chased away everywhere. He's like a human being, like us. I don't think we ought to, I don't think we should chase away this man. And she tries to convince her father. And she says that whom we had promised, should we throw him out? Then the ironmaster replies, you do preach worse than a parson. Parson? Priest. You are preaching. You are giving advice. You are giving sermon like a priest. Here, the only thing what this ironmaster could say to his daughter was that she was trying to convince him. Better than the priest at the church. I only hope you won't have to regret this. But my hope is that you shouldn't regret over that, whatever you do. Because he's a thief. The young girl took the stranger by the hand and led him up to the table. So she takes him to the table where she has set for food. Now sit down and eat, she said. She could see that her father had given it. So she felt that now the father had surrendered to her, had consented to her wish. And she offers him food. She takes him to the table and she offers him food. The man with the rat trap said not a word. He didn't say any word. He only sat down and helped himself to the food. He started eating. Time after time, he looked at the young girl who had interceded for him, who had interfered for him, who had intervened for him. Why had she done it? What could the crazy idea be? So he was very much doubtful about her intentions. He was wondering why she stopped him. After that, Christmas Eve at Ramju passed just as it always had. The stranger did not cause any trouble because he did nothing but sleep. The whole forenoon he lay on the sofa in one of the guest rooms and slept at one stretch. At noon they woke him up so that he could have his share of the good Christmas fare. But after that he slept again. It seemed as though for many years he had not been able to sleep as quietly and safely as here at Ramju. So here the stranger had a good sleep after his food, and he appeared to be quite peaceful, and peacefully he slept after his lunch. Before we continue the story, let's revise the story. Let's review. Let's remember because we are coming to the climax of this story. The transformation that we are going to see soon in this peddler who had the world view that this world is a rat trap and there are bets, there are temptations, and once you touch that bet, once you get trapped by that temptation, the world is over. You can never come out of that trap. That's what he believed. But let's see how that transformation takes place in the next session. But now let us revise the story. Let's remember whatever we have seen so far. A rat trap peddler sold small rat traps. So what was he doing? He was selling rat traps. And that is how he was surviving. His clothes were in rags, his cheeks were hollow, sunken cheeks. He had the look of a starved man. Means he was not getting enough to eat. He made traps, rat traps. He begged the material from stores and big farms. Sometimes he resorted to begging. But sometimes what he used to do is to beg and few times even is to steal, thievery to survive. The world had never been kind to him. He had no home, no shelter. He was a vagabond. The peddler led a lonely life. One day, while he was thinking about his rat traps, an idea struck him. He thought that the world itself was a rat trap. Suddenly, he became philosophical. And he started thinking about the world, that the world is a big rat trap. As soon as anybody touched it, the trap closed on them. So how it happens to the rat? The moment it touches the bed, what happens? The rat trap closes on and he is trapped. Similar way it happens in the case of human being. He was amused to think of some people who were already trapped and some others who were trying to reach the bed in the trap. It was a cold evening in December. He reached a cottage on the roadside. He knocked at the door and asked for a night's shelter. The owner of the cottage was a lonely old crofter, so marginal farmer. He wanted someone to talk to and hear the story of the crofter, a small farmer. But he was not working on the farm now, but he had a cow. He welcomed the peddler. He gave the peddler hot porridge to eat and tobacco to smoke. So he provided him supper, and then he provided him tobacco for smoking. Then they played cards. So he made his night very comfortable. The crofter was generous, he was very kind as well as trustful. How he was trustful? Whatever he had, 30 kronas that he showed to him. He told the peddler that he had a cow and sold some milk to a creamery. He also told him that he received 30 kroner as payment the previous month. Then he took down a pouch, showed him that money that was his saving of the previous month. Then he put the money back in the pouch and hung it on a nail in the window frame. The next morning, the peddler left. The crofter locked his cottage and went away. The peddler came back to the cottage. He had been tempted to steal the money that hung like bait in the window frame. And what does this peddler do? He steals that money. He smashed the window pane, stole the money. Now he thought it was not safe to walk along the public highway. So he went into the woods. So he went into the forest. This story of the crofter is very important. When you are reading this story, remember this story of the crofter. And next story is going to be of the ironmaster. That story also you should remember. There he walked and walked. So where he walked and walked, he walked in the forest. He wanted to avoid the main road, highway, and therefore he was walking in the forest. He could not get out of that forest. He lost the way. He moved in circles. He didn't know where he was heading towards. He was tired. He looked upon the forest as a rat trap in which he was caught. He thought his end was near. He lay down to die. And then what happens suddenly? That we'll see now. And there it begins. The Ironmaster's story. Now here he was moving in the forest and he had lost all the hopes. He was desperate. And there, when he was in that particular condition, suddenly he hears thumping sound. And they were hammer strokes. And he started moving in the direction of that sound that was coming from Ramjo Ironworks. And when he went there in the direction of the sound, he came across this plant of the ironworks. He went into the forge. There was a master smith sitting there with the trainee. The owner came on his nightly rounds. The ironmaster came on his nightly rounds for inspection, and he noticed this ragged wretch near the furnace. The ironmaster looked intently at the peddler's face, and he felt that he was one of his old regimental comrades, Captain Von Stable, and probably he felt that it was a bad time for him who had fallen on evil days. He invited the peddler to go home with him for Christmas. But the peddler was alarmed. The peddler was afraid, shocked. He thought it was risky for him to accept the offer because he had stolen the money of the crofter. He firmly declined it. He refused it. The ironmaster went home. But after going home, he conveys this to his daughter, Edla. And she was very happy because on Christmas Eve, she can have a guest and she can make the occasion like Christmas. Very happy occasion. Because otherwise, father and herself, only two of them were there. And she felt, why not make this Christmas occasion a happy occasion with the guest? Like Christmas Eve, like Christmas. The ironmaster sent his daughter Edla to persuade the peddler to come home. She spoke gently to this peddler. The peddler felt confident in her and agreed to go with her. On the way, he was sorry to have stolen the crofter's money that had put him in a trap. The crofter was very kind to him. The crofter, who had been very hospitable to him, he had stolen his money. The ironmaster was happy to have his old regimental comrade under his room. He planned to feed him well, give him some respectable work. The servant cut the peddler's hair, shaved him, and bathed him. The peddler appeared wearing one of the ironmaster's fine suits, but when the ironmaster looked at him in daylight, he felt that he had made a mistake. The peddler was not his acquaintance, not Captain Von Stale. He thought that the man had deceived him. He even thought of handing him to the sheriff. Let's stop here and we'll continue the story in the next session. And we are going to come across the climax of the story and the great transformation that takes place in the peddler because of the compassion. So, with sympathy and compassion, it can transform any human being who may be a crooked, cruel person. Thank you. Goodbye.